Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
And that's when they realized in order to get out of the sewer, they all had to take a turn raw dog and Bev.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I didn't write it. Stephen King did.
You know what? You're waiting like literally 5 seconds into the episode. This is why YouTube will not recommend any of our shit. Because you have to lead into the episode and just go right into raw dogging people.
Brian, if you replace me, this show would be as big as Joe Rogan.
I am not. No, I'm not going to replace you. You're too fun.
Yeah.
But like, it is a thing where it's not John's fault. It's Stephen King's fault. Why does he have to write this shit? But yes, this episode we are talking about Stephen King movies, more specifically about a resurgence almost this year.
There's been a pattern this year
with Stephen King adaptations.
And if all of you want to hear our favorite Stephen King adaptations, you can check our back catalog.
Yes.
That's actually going back a handful
That's going
of
back a
years.
bit. That's going back a bit.
But yeah, this year, I always look for patterns in Hollywood. And this year we've had 3 adaptations already of Stephen King works. One coming out before the end of the year. One that came out right at the end of last year. And there are some things that are coming to streaming.
Yeah.
And it's just... I don't, you would have thought Stephen King died on just how much like his work is being adapted all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, that kind of leads to my first question, John. Like, what is it about Stephen King stories that lead to this sort of resurgence that we're seeing here? Is it just that, they have kind of almost an ephemeral kind of feel to them, that they kind of, address kind of the, everyday scenarios that we all live with? Like, what is it about these stories that end up turning into these remakes? Not remakes, but just, reimaginings that we're seeing now.
It's strange because, he was, and I guess you could kind of say still is. I mean, he's been replaced in different subsections, like for the female audience, you might be like Stephanie Meyer, or if you like the court stuff, it might be John Grisham. But he really has been for years and years like the rock star of the novel.
Except for Clive Barker. He said that he's the future of horror.
Yeah.
Literally, Stephen King said that.
Yeah. But it's strange that he's adapted so much when his books are so long and have so much adult material that, you used to have like the movies that his short stories always did better, like Shawshank and everything, because they're not 800 pages. And we used to have those movie of the weeks,
Oh, yes.
But
like
even
Rose Red.
Yeah. Tommy Knockers. Yeah, fill in the blank. But it's like even those didn't have enough time to really fully adapt Stephen King. But I think people who don't want to read an 800-page book are like, well, I'll wait for the movie of the week or movies. But so many people do it wrong. Mm-hmm. I think now in the world of streaming, still people want the movies to go to the theater. But I think something like it should really be an 8-hour, 9-hour episodic streaming thing. But we don't get that. But yeah, everybody wants an adaptation of Stephen King work, and this year we've had so many of them, but they're not what you think. It's not Pet Sematary. It's not Shining. It's not It's
not the A-listers.
Right.
It's kind of like the B and C listers,
which is what really should be adapted. You know? But just to kind of give an idea here is at the end of last year, when I know 2024 doesn't count, but in October we had a reimagining, I guess for lack of a better word, of Salem's Lot.
I actually liked it. Like, that's the thing. I actually did see Salem's Lot, that reimagined, and that was one that it's a film that honestly, like, it sat on the shelf for a while. Like, that movie was filmed, I think, in 2019 or 2020, and then hadn't been released up until last year.
Okay.
And then it went to streaming. Like, it went directly to HBO Max. And, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. I've always been a fan of Salem's Lot. I love the original from the 70s. I even like the Rob Lowe one from like the early 2000s.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This one was a neat kind of film. It was a neat kind of reimagining of it.
I enjoyed the book. It was before vampires were kind of played out.
Yes.
Yeah. But just to kind of give a sense of it. I know that's 2024, but like
that counts.
But we're bleeding into 2025, and the three ones that we're going to mainly focus on, and we're kind of hint on the last one because it hasn't come out yet, is The Monkey. In February 21st, that one came out. Life of Chuck, June 13th. The Long Walk, September 12th. And November 7th, we're going to have Edgar Wright's Running Man.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'll talk about the movie preview. I wish that we could have gotten an early cut of it, but hey, Edgar Wright, what's up?
Hey, Allied Marketing Global, can you give us like a early cut of those films? Like, we would love that. We would love that.
But just 4 adaptations on the big screen in 1 year. And on streaming, there's The Institute and Welcome to Derry, which is like the It spinoff.
I am so looking forward to Welcome to Derry.
I've always felt that the most interesting character in it is Derry.
Yes.
And it's ignored in the film. So I guess like that extra layer of going deeper is fine for a novel that's almost 1,000 pages, but you kind of have to leave a lot on the cutting room floor if you're making a movie.
Well, I mean, it's also a thing, John, like we've seen this now with a lot of films where they'll have the film come out like the Batman, right? Mm-hmm. And then they, will do the series like the Penguin that just dives a little bit more into, the character of the city, or in this case, the Penguin, right? And Oswald Cobblepot, not Cobblepot. I'm thinking of Batman Returns, but Oswald Cobb's like backstory and how his rise to like criminal underworld. So like I see similar things with Welcome to Derry, is that you've got it part 1 and part 2. We're familiar with the character of Pennywise. We know that world. And this now kind of gives us kind of, the town of Derry, it's time, right? That there's more to it. And I imagine it's going to be kind of Twin Peaks-esque.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
but with no subtlety. Where like Twin Peaks, like, what lies beneath? Like, we know what lies beneath.
We know what lies beneath.
And it floats. But, the first movie of the year was The Monkey, which I think... First off, it was a short story by Stephen, so that's a good place to start.
Yep.
Let's start with the short story. But for those that are in the know, Osgood Perkins directed this, who you may know from Longlegs, but you may also know as the son of Anthony Perkins from Psycho fame.
That's crazy.
And yeah, he followed in his father's footsteps in the directing end, because people don't know Anthony Perkins did go into directing later in his life. And this movie is just balls to the wall insane. It's, imagine the monkey's paw, but instead it's a full form chime, one of those chime monkeys that you can make wishes for, but every time you do, it ends in disaster, as any Wish movie does. That's not Aladdin.
Those are the yeah. I mean, even Aladdin kind of ends in disaster too, right? I mean, kind of before, like the Jafar becomes a genie, and then it's like, okay, well, what's gonna happen now? He's got all this power, but he's like, no, it's genie magic. But no, I love movies where there is kind of that cross section of mystical elements with some element of reality, right? Like we as people always have this idea that, hey, I wish I could do this, or I wish I had more money, or I wish I had this opportunity, and then it becomes a thing where it's like, if you have that element that grants you that thing, what does it take away from you? Right.
Yeah. And this one is very over the top of what it takes away from you. It's the kind of thing that the horror is so dark, it's funny.
Yeah.
And, that's not for everybody, but I think, and I guess spoiler alerts if people haven't seen it,
spoil it,
but it's not anything to do with the plot, but somebody ends up dying by being on fire, running out of a house, and impaling themselves on a for sale sign, like through the mouth. And then later in the movie, when the police are there and the news crews are there, they just simply put a road cone over the blood and gore of the for sale sign. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we're not supposed to take this too seriously.
I mean, that's I think the best, that's the best type of gag right there is when you can see a horrible situation and try to find some way of making it funny, right?
So yeah, I think Osgood's use of dark humor is what really sells it, because it's kind of a preposterous thing to begin with. Like, the only way you're going to get away with this is to go over the top, but it's a super fun ride if you're into the morbid and dark humor macabre.
Right.
And it does have, a good message about, what it means to kind of sell your soul And it was a product of like a broken household where they found this way after the fact. It was something their dad, who like had bought this years before, so they accidentally stumbled upon it and realized its power and try to get rid of it, but it keeps coming back as they get older. Like, you can't get rid of this guy. Like, they try to throw it down a well and it keeps coming back.
So it's almost like generational trauma.
Yeah. Basically.
It's generational trauma. It's like, your parents' sins kind of they stick with you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's very interesting with these three films because they're very different. The Monkey is very sardonic and darkly funny. Life of Chuck is very kind of life affirming, and The Long Walk is just kind of like a dark look at what he wrote at the time was about Vietnam, but it hits as much today as it does, which is kind of terrifying. But yeah, the Monkey was kind of overlooked. All of these, well, the first two were very overlooked, but The Long Walk, I think, has resonated with people.
Yeah.
I really would suggest people check out Life of Chuck because this is not horror. This is very much Stephen King at a thoughtful level.
So it's like Shawshank, Stephen King.
Yeah. But the thing is, it starts off like, it's great because it's not narrative. It breaks it into three different stories. And the first story, if you don't know what you're going into, which I hadn't read the short story, but it's just the world is falling apart around people. And like the teacher is in the classroom and everybody's talking about like, oh, these lands are falling into the ocean. There's no internet left. There's no reason to be living any longer. And they're trying to go through the student evaluations when like clearly the end of the world is here. But everywhere everybody goes, it says like, thank you for 45 years of service, Chuck, and there's billboards everywhere. He's on benches and everybody's like, who is this Chuck? And why is he the only one that seems to be happy as the world is collapsing? And, the world continues to fall apart. And it gets to the end of the first chapter where the stars seem like they're imploding and everything just kind of turns to black. And it's like, what was that? And then we get introduced to Chuck and the whole thing of him hearing dance music on the street. And he is just just completely infected by this music and just cuts a rug like you wouldn't believe. And it's Loki. What's his name?
Yes. Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston. And clearly knows how to dance. And but and it's kind of like, wait, isn't that the guy who was on all the billboards and inside people's windows and on TV from the last one? And he's just dancing and celebrating. And we're told that he only has so many months left to live. Because what he doesn't know is he's got a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And from there, it goes from that particular story to finding out what he was like as a child.
Okay.
And in his childhood, he loses his parents. He's living with his grandparents, which Mark Hamill is in both Life of Chuck and Long Walk.
Oh, okay.
So apparently Mark Hamill just goes, oh, Stephen King adaptation? I'm in.
Yeah.
But, he's growing up and dealing with this trauma, and his grandmother, who is Sloane from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
That's funny.
Yeah, she took a lot of years off from acting, but she's back in this one. She teaches him as a kid like how to dance, and it kind of like brings him out of his shell. And this is the longest we spend with any one particular story.
Right.
And we kind of learn that there's a third floor to this house that Mark Hamill, as his grandpa, says, like, you cannot go up there.
Okay.
Not in any way, shape, or form can you ever go up there. And that's kind of left as a mystery through the whole thing. And as we go along, we start to find out that there's one teacher that, our young Chuck is connecting with. Like, she's one of those teachers that wants to change the world, but the students don't give a crap.
Yes, there's always one.
And she's teaching him about Walt Whitman. And for those that don't know, that Walt Whitman, has famously had the line, there are multitudes of me. And you start to realize, okay, what they're saying is that as we're dying, because then we kind of get hinted in that he's on his deathbed, that the first part where everybody that he's had experiences with are living in his head.
Yeah.
People he's known. So those are his multitudes. And they're realizing that they themselves are memories of themselves that are now going to die as his brain dies.
Oh, okay.
So it's an exploration told in different ways about his life. And at the very end, he goes up to that room as a child after his grandfather's died. Mark Hamill dies. And he sees a image of himself dying as Tom Hiddleston. And so like that room will show you your future, and he decides to deal with that and say, I'm going to live my life, to the fullest, which he doesn't do until that second part when he dances and starts to feel alive again.
Gotcha.
So it's a beautiful exploration of life that wouldn't work if it was told chronologically.
No.
But it's just that structure really resonated with me. And this film, not that I didn't love The Monkey as well, but this film and The Long Walk, which we'll talk about, is absolutely two of my top 10 films of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, that Life of Chuck just really hit me because it could have been sappy. It could have been, a little too much, but it really draws that line between being too saccharine but being sincere at the same time. The Long Walk is completely different, which for those that don't know the premise, it's a world where it's kind of a post-apocalyptic world where nobody has anything worth a shit. It's like you're lucky if you have moldy bread to eat and tainted water. And every boy basically in the country signs up for the Long Walk, where I think there's 20 some odd young men that they walk as long as they can. And whoever is the last one standing wins a fortune and one prize, like of their choosing. Like one.
The fortune isn't the prize?
No, they get one other thing too. Sorry. And so we see over time, like, one kid, he breaks his ankle. And the idea is like, if you fall, you get 3 warnings to get back up. And if you don't get up after the 3rd warning, you just get shot in the head.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So everybody dies except the winner. And, we follow these
characters. Is that the prize?
Not dying?
Not dying in the fortune? I mean, again, like, you're telling me there's more prizes.
And so Stephen King, imagine this, was one of his first stories he ever wrote, and during the Vietnam era. Imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, you could see a lot of parallels there, right? Young men signing up for something, and the prize being like, I don't know, going to college.
Yeah.
But there's the odds of you getting shot are more apt.
And the whole suggestion is that, we volunteer, but nobody really volunteers.
No one volunteers.
We don't have a choice.
No, I mean, if you look at that through the lens of like, modern day military recruitment, it is called, an economic and capitalist system that literally is churning out dead soldiers through keeping opportunity away from certain people. Sometimes it might be based on race. Sometimes it just might be based on economic status. But that is, in essence, designed to create dead soldiers.
As George Carlin once said, people that are anti-abortionists, they want live babies to raise dead soldiers.
Yes.
But this movie does a great job of following, I would say, 6 to 7 central characters without losing anybody in the process. All fairly different character types. But there are so many unique ways that people end up dying off in this. There is one scene where somebody ends up having the shits.
Oh, Jesus
and
Christ.
He keeps dropping his pants, and it's obviously digital, but like just runny shit.
Just runny shits. Of course, it couldn't be like a solid turd. It had to be like diarrhea level.
Well, what I thought was so funny is the theater I was in, I just turned and looked at the crowd, and there was one guy who was going, like he was seconds from
he was
puking.
vomiting.
Yeah, that was the thing. Not the gunshots to the head.
It was
just
the
watching
shit.
the runny diarrhea. Yeah. And he ends up not being able to continue on, and that's what takes him out. But yeah,
Terry took him out.
And you would think a bunch of people just walking and getting to know these characters would get boring fast, but it really doesn't, because we do get a lot of cutaways. And this is where I think this movie resonates a lot today is our main character, who is Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Okay.
That he's doing this because he wants his one wish to be, I guess, spoiler alerts, I guess, folks. His one wish is to kill Mark Hamill, who is the drill sergeant. And this, it was like he's basically on a truck going, "Come on, boys." He sounds like Joker when he's doing it.
Of course he does.
Yeah, because he's trying to that voice like, "Come on, go fast,
come on, Batman."
But yeah, his wish will be, to get in a room alone with the general afterwards to kill him, because years ago we see a flashback where his father was giving him illegal books to read and illegal music to listen to, and like the Gestapo, they show up to his house, pull him out, and say, if you renounce this and give allegiance and allow us to burn all this stuff, we'll let you live, but basically with like a scarlet letter, so to speak. And he says, no, I refuse. And they gun him down in the streets.
Jesus.
And I'm like, where does that kind of sound familiar?
Yeah.
Banning books, guys in masks pulling people out of cars and Home Depots. I can't imagine what that sounds like. So a book written in the 1970s, I guess we haven't learned anything.
No, we haven't learned shit.
Because this is...
we have not learned shit.
Yeah. So this is where we are. This was, as of right now, I will say, we do our end of the year thing in January. We talk about our favorite films. Right now, and this is card subject to change because this is only early October, this is my favorite movie of the year. So far.
Wow.
That's
a bold statement there.
It's powerful. It's well directed, well edited, well acted, and like it resonates today as much as it did when Stephen King was writing it about Vietnam.
Yeah.
Back in the day. And again, this is another one of his shorter stories. I think this is, if you're going to do theatrical adaptations, this is where they should really lean on.
Is the short stories, absolutely.
Yeah, where I know they don't want to do this, but the longer ones like Under the Dome and those should be streaming.
Well, I mean, it's a thing, John, that like those longer ones have nuance to them. They have different aspects of them, that it's a thing where audiences who are maybe fans of those books, they've read them back cover to cover, right? They're expecting that nuance in there, and you just can't fit all of that in a 2.5 hour film. Or you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, even that's 2-3 hour films.
But still,
I've read it, and it doesn't, 6 hours doesn't begin to cover.
I mean, that is one of the things, is like when you adapt a book to a film, there are things that have to be cut away just for logistics' sake. Yeah. And the thing is that sometimes can affect the fan service that you're delivering, right? Like that's just nature of the beast. But yes, when you do have a streaming series, it makes more sense because you can jump off from points in that, right? Like maybe you cover only the book to start with for season 1, but then once you get through season 1, they're like, oh, you got greenlit for season 2. It's like, oh, great. We can now expand the lore.
Yeah.
We can go beyond it and make it its own thing. And that's where you do get some series that really transcend that. Like, first thing that comes to mind is Dexter, right? Like that. Imagine if that was a movie.
Yeah. All like 12 novels in just one movie.
But like they clearly started out with the novel as the blueprint. And then as it became more and more popular, they branched it out and started to create it its own. So that now when you look at the novels and then you look at the series, it's two completely different entities. But they're all about the same characters that we've grown to love and care about.
And I will say with these films, why I am a Stephen King fan, although like, God, I think he is so hit and miss, it's ridiculous, is that the 3 trailers I saw, like I'm like, okay, The Monkey looks like horror, cheese, dark humor fun.
I almost thought it was like an 80s film.
Yeah, it had that.
Like Monkey Shines. It gave me Monkey Shines vibes.
Nice Romero reference, yeah.
Damn right.
Life of Chuck seemed like, I'm like, oh, what is this premise? Because it really only kind of hits on the first chapter of it in the trailer. And then The Long Walk, I'm like, wow, that seems kind of like, that could be interesting. It almost seemed like what Running Man actually was.
Well, the only thing with that one was like, I saw the gag. Yeah. I think it was on social media of like people in the theater on treadmills.
Yeah.
Walking while watching
good marketing
the film.
Campaign. Yeah.
Fantastic marketing campaign. Yeah.
But so yeah, it wasn't there with Stephen King. I just thought they were 3 very interesting ones, and then I thought to myself, wait, there's 3 Stephen King adaptations. Oh wait, no, there's 4 because what hasn't come out yet is I don't know if it's going to be completely accurate to the book, but it's going to be a hell of a lot more accurate than Arnold's.
I don't give a shit.
Running Man.
I don't give a shit, John.
I love Running Man. The Arnold one.
Love the Arnold one. Check our back catalog. We did that episode. Yeah. No, I fucking love the Running Man. I've never read the novel. That is the truth of it.
It's a short story.
A short story.
Yeah.
So I've never read the short story, but I love the Arnold one. It's going to be hard for me to look at it through the lens of not going like, you should have Arnold here, right?
Yeah.
Like all of the isms that he has in there, and then the Cadre Cola and what's his face, who's the game show host for it.
Oh, from Family Feud. Yeah,
from Family Feud. So like all of those things that I love about that, I worry that preconceived notion is going to infect the viewing experience of people who go in to watch it.
What I like from what I'm seeing from the trailer and having read the short story is that it's not going to be just a rehash of the Arnold one. Like, if you're going to adapt something again, like make it closer to the source material. It's something you ventured far. Like, I didn't see it because I didn't care, but the Total Recall remake.
Oh man,
from what I understood, it's closer to the actual short story.
Yeah, it's still bad though.
Oh yeah, but this
you didn't
looks.
See it?
No, I kind of refused to.
I saw it. It was
my morbid curiosity made me see the RoboCop remake.
That one was bad.
Yeah,
that one's like, let's go ahead and have Michael Keaton, Batman, be a bad guy.
Although he is a good bad guy.
I mean, he does. He can play a good bad guy, but like he just comes off as like an evil Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
But that Total Recall remake.
Wait, isn't Steve Jobs an evil Steve Jobs? Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah. Kind of evil. But like that not RoboCop, but the Total Recall remake, man, fucking terrible. The whole idea of we've got an elevator that goes through the earth, and like one side is poor people and the other side is rich people. I'm like, okay, dude. Okay, dude. I'm like, where are the mutants at? Oh, there's no mutants. There's no Mars. Okay, there's no fucking Mars. So it's like all the good things that I loved about RoboCop, you just stripped all of it out, and it's like, oh well, it's more accurate to the book. It's like, I don't give a fucking shit.
Yeah,
I don't care.
You mean Total Recall?
Oh, Total Recall. It's like I don't. I want the weird shit. I want my Paul Verhoeven mutants and weird things and three titty ladies. Like, why did you get rid of that stuff? Not enough Kate Beckinsales can fill that void.
Yeah,
okay,
right. I mean, it comes. I'll fill her void, but no, but. This is why we don't have as many women listeners as we do. But I will say, from obviously all I can base my thoughts on is the trailer, and Edgar Wright is directing this, and by God, does it look like it's an Edgar Wright movie?
I mean, that's the thing is I trust Edgar Wright's handling of any material.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is. I mean, I've seen his films and been like, I don't really like it, but it's stylistic and beautiful. Right, like that. Like, what's the one that had Anya Taylor-Joy in it?
Last night in Soho.
Soho, yeah. Like that one, it was all right. It was like it's okay, but like it visually and through post production, it's absolutely beautiful film.
Yeah.
But just not really my vibe. But I've seen a lot of all those films that I'm like stylistically amazing.
So I do think it's interesting this is coming out the same year as Long Walk because it's dystopian futures about somebody either walking or running from imminent death. But
yeah,
I get maybe they're completely different studios. They didn't care. They just wanted to drop them. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's just a huge coincidence that we have 4 Stephen King adaptations this year, 1 right at the end of last year, and 2 streaming adaptations of his work?
Do you want the cynical version of me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the cynical version of me is looking at this of it is probably far cheaper to adapt Stephen King and also probably far more lucrative to adapt Stephen King just because the man has a fan base.
Yes.
So it's a thing where you can always attach Stephen King to marketing materials and to the fact that like his fans probably are aware of those stories already, so you've already got a through line to them. So it's less energy on their part to market it. I also just think that his stories, for the most part, are universally loved. Even some of these obscure ones, they're universally loved. So that any adaptation coming from it is going to play well. Like, can you think of a Stephen King adaptation that's not been good? Well, and when I mean good, I mean like just barely passable. I'm not talking terrible, but I'm just saying like you're like, oh yeah, it's a movie. It's okay. I can't think of one that's terrible.
I think having his name attached to all these, because like I knew they were Stephen King adaptations, even though something like Life of Chuck, which I had never seen, but if I was explaining this movie to you, like if this is an idea I came up with, Brian, and I'm pitching it to you, this is a movie we should make, you'd be like, has John been drinking? Because
I would be like that.
It's just, it seems so all over the map, and it's so...
He is a bit bipolar in that. Like, he clearly is like, yes, you know me as the horror guy, but fuck you. I'm going to go ahead and do some affirmational shit too.
Yeah, no, now it's the girl who loved Tom Gordon. It's like, what?
It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, is there dead people in that? Like, is there some sort of creepy clown? No, it's about life. It's like, okay.
So I think that's what would drew people into the theater to see Life of Chuck, because I think it did decent. It wasn't, a big.
I mean, I heard a lot of people who were, singing its praises on social media and TikTok and all those places. It definitely found an audience, and I think it's the same thing with like Shawshank Redemption. Like on paper, if you were to describe the Shawshank Redemption, be like, this movie should not be good. Like it just shouldn't. But it ends up becoming good, and I think a lot of that also plays to like the actual production of the film. How is the film cast? How is the adaptation done? Right? When you adapt a short story or anything, things are going to change. It's like, how did you change it up to make it still relevant and make it still connect with the source of that story?
And what's interesting is that Life of Chuck, to use that one as an example, is part of a short story collection.
Yeah.
And I was killing time. I was going to go to a movie at the AMC Lowe's in the Waterfront. If you're not from Pittsburgh, it's like a big shopping area.
Yep.
Has a huge movie theater.
Big multiplex.
But we had, my fiance, we had time to kill, so we went into the Barnes & Noble down there. Yep. And I can never remember which one's open and which one's closed. I always want to say Borders. And I was like, no, that's the one that went to
Borders is closed.
Yeah. And I went, through an area, and I saw, they're selling the short story of just Life of Chuck by itself now. So it's like, now we can get a resurgence and sell the short story by itself.
Totally.
But yeah, I would say, like, if it was like Jaws, when Jaws was successful, you got Orca, you got Piranha, that build off it. But when all these are coming out months apart from different studios, this has to, as Doc Brown would say, has to be an amazing coincidence.
I mean, I look at it from the standpoint of like, these studios are just trying to get stuff out. You also have to consider this too. This was probably made during the writer's strike, or like either preceding it or after it. So it's like you're getting them coming out of that. If I had to guess, I'd probably say it was probably written before the writer's strike. Like they needed to get it, taken care of out the door. So it's not surprising to me that they're all cascading at one time if they were rushing to get them written before writers went on strike.
I mean, there's something to be said, like the monkey, like that really speaks to Osgood Perkins' nature. So he probably picked that one. The Long Walk might have been chosen because, it has echoes of what we're going through today. The only one that kind of stands out is Life of Chuck. And Running Man might just be because, people love the one in the 80s.
People love the Running Man.
And we got to try to make Glen Powell happen, damn it.
They are trying so hard. This is almost kind of like WWE when they try to make like Roman Reigns. Remember Roman Reigns? Yeah. They try to make him a thing. I only know that because my kids were into him for a hot minute.
They turned him heel, and he finally did get over.
Okay, but it was a thing where it's like they do this. They try to make
force it down your throat.
And you're like, no, dude, this ain't how this works.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna try to make him a leading man, and I don't think it's gonna work.
So
I just don't.
I think also as kind of like a final thought on it. There's only so many comic books you can remake, only so many things you can reimagine. But Stephen King, man, even off cocaine, the guy produces 100 pieces of work a year. So
even off cocaine,
it's like go through his short story collections. You're like, all right, let's buy the rights to this one. Let's buy the rights to this one. He's a fountain of untapped potential of adaptation. It's not like he's George R.R. Martin, who has only written like so many books and people wait forever for the next one. He's like, hey, here's 17 new books this year and 8 short story books. So there's a well to go to.
There's a massive well of Stephen King stuff that to pull from.
And when you're too scared to give somebody an original shot, like, here's your chance to be like, well, we can say it's from Stephen King. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Is from a studio perspective, you know that Stephen King sells.
Mm-hmm.
You know that it is competently written, and then it just becomes a matter of like, okay, well, we just had to adapt it for our film and pull parts that we think are going to work well and take parts that aren't and put them on the side. So it's with a short story, as I said, like that's easier to do than a novel. So what is interesting though is I find it funny that the studios have learned through litigation, like the whole Lawnmower Man stuff, that you got to be careful.
You can't just put Steven's name on it and change the whole thing.
And that's the thing is none of these movies have From the Mind of Stephen King at the top of them, right?
Right. Yeah.
They never. It might say adapted from it, like it gives him credit clearly, but they're not using Stephen King's name as a marketing thing. And check our back catalog on Lawnmower Man because we went into that deep in the lawsuit that Stephen King ultimately won against New Line, who was making the Lawnmower Man, and used his marketing his name as marketing material.
Right, we've talked about Stephen King adaptations, and then we talked about Lawnmower Man. Now we're talking about the year of Kate. I think maybe we've exhausted the man.
We have exhausted the man.
But we even thought we could do another Stephen King month because there's so many ones that we left on.
you thought that. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? No way, man. Like I'm not doing another Stephen King month.
But I would say this to people out there. If you have any insights, like hit us up on Discord, hit us up in the comments. If you know any reason as to why there are 4 feature-length, high production valued adaptations of Stephen King work in 1 year on top of streaming, like, please let us know how this happens. Is it just a huge coincidence, or is it something else that maybe I'm missing that I didn't
do the water?
Deep research enough?
Something's in the water causing everyone to make these Stephen King adaptations.
Yeah, so let us know. But I mean, I would say it's 3 out of 4 so far. I would say the 3 that I saw, I absolutely love. I hope Running Man doesn't let me down. And usually,
it's gonna.
If you have,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's gonna.
If you have 3 Stephen King adaptations 1 year, you expect one to be terrible, one to be and then one to be pretty good. But the fact that all 3 were good.
Here's the thing. Yeah. I already am worried because doesn't The Running Man come out in December?
Around Thanksgiving.
Okay, that's hit or miss.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving is usually like prestige cinema time.
Or like the first Christmas films of the year. That's when the Santa Claus came out.
Yes. So like when I hear that The Running Man is coming out around Thanksgiving time, I'm like, are you expecting this one to fail?
Yeah.
Like I got a bad feeling about it.
I can tell from the trailer they threw a bunch of money at it. So
I mean, sure, they're gonna have to throw money at it to make you
the worst case scenario tax write off. I don't know.
They're still gonna put it out in the theaters. It's not a direct tax write off. But good talk. Good talk on Stephen King stuff. So, John, where can they find you at on the internet?
The Facebookers, the Instagrammers. You can always hit me up on email if you so choose. I'm sure I still have a MySpace login. I don't know what it is.
MySpace.
Yeah. But you can find me over at JDubs Video Nasties. Again, the Ghostbusters episode is out. I hope that I'm not shooting myself in the foot on that one, but if it's not out by now, what the hell am I doing? And I'm working currently on a little more thoughtful, brain massaging one about a psychologist who wrote a book about what are the actual mental illnesses that go into line with famous horror movie characters. So he kind of breaks that down and gives real life scenarios about like, for example, the Nightmare on Elm Street, like the actual person that was scared to death in their dreams, kind of he breaks that down and what kind of disorder that is. So very kind of interesting talk I had with him. And then, be on the lookout for more spooky stuff. Skeleton Key check-in coming soon. So all kinds of good spooky stuff around the corner.
And, of course, if you have loved this episode, please do me a favor and share it. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your favorite Stephen King fan. And, of course, if you want to follow the podcast, you can do so by going to cinemapsychoshow.com/follow. You can go there, click the little buttons, and boom, you're following us on your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you're watching us here on YouTube, hey, thank you so much. Please do me a favor and like and share and subscribe and hit the little notification bell, because that stuff really does do the algorithm justice for the Cinema Psycho Show and gets our stuff shown more. So with that said, we will see you next time.
Hey, remember in Gerald's game when there's a 50-page chapter about an uncle molesting his niece?
No.